Good evening, and we are back. Well, we've been away for a while, and we decided, hey, seeing that it's Mental Health Month, or we celebrated it on the 10th, let's get back and we talk about things that bother us. So we are going to talk tonight about what is autism. It's a big word, and oftentimes we don't really know, is it linked with ADHD? Wat gaan aan? But tonight we have a very she's very clued up on this topic. Actually, we have Nicolette. She is the director of Autism Connect. And well, she will introduce herself. That is what we do on this show. She will introduce herself, and then we will kind of just talk about what is autism. And then afterwards, we will give her a chance to tell us also about what Autism Connect does. Okay. So we're going to hand over to Nicolette, and she's just going to tell us who she is and wat doen sy. So that is, hi, Nicolette. How are you?
Good evening, good evening. Thank you, Bjornifer, for this opportunity. I know we were talking quite a bit offline now, and I felt a bit more at ease, and now I'm feeling really, really anxious and nervous, but we'll go with it. Um, Good evening to you, to Good Enough Enterprises, and your people and people that's coming, obviously watching the interview. I'm Nicolette Ripepi, as you can see, and thank you for that introduction. You've done it. I head up an organization called Autism Connect Learning Center out in Mitchell's Plain. We are more in the Stanfontein area.
Okay.
Um, and that's what I am. And I'm a single mom. I have an autistic young adult now. He's a teenager, and I've
Mm-hmm.
got a 21-year-old daughter. Um, and yeah, that's who I am. And thank you once again for this interview. I think it's way overdue. We were supposed to have it a few weeks ago, back in
Yeah.
August, but
Yeah.
August was so busy, and a lot has happened in August.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just key and appropriate to actually have a conversation here tonight, based on mental health. 'Cause, I mean, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's such a lot that entails. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah. And I mean,
Again.
it ties in a lot with the subject of mental health because oftentimes when we talk about mental health, we talk about ourselves, we talk about abuse, we talk about all of these things that kind of affects our mental health, but we oftentimes do not really tend to tap into the differently able side of everything else. It's kind of a thing of a us and them situation when it comes to differently abled. And so I thought let's do this and let's talk about autism and what it is, and maybe we must start with that. What is autism?
So, autism is not something, or it's not anymore such a foreign word. If a few years back, I think people know more or less now what autism is. You can just go and Google it and just find out what is the definition. But it is just a condition, a neurological condition, that where children or individuals have challenges with the person, the
Mm,
whole person. I always just make that a description of it, because it affects the whole person. It affects your they have challenges with social interaction, communication and language, sensory issues, um, repetitive behaviors, all of that. And all that information one can now so freely just read up about, because there's such a lot
yeah.
about autism in itself. But it's a spectrum, referring to autism spectrum disorder, because you mentioned earlier when you opened up about the you know, ADHD, it all falls under that umbrella. Children with intellectual disability, with autistic traits. My son, for one, has, so his primary diagnosis is ASD, he falls under the umbrella of autism with an intellectual disability or disorder. And that in itself is is what it is, and it also ranges from child to child. Now with diagnoses, when diagnoses are made done by a doctor or a specialist, they can range it now. So you get level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 autism, and based on that, it's just on the severity of where the child is at.
Okay.
um, we used to have or talk about your low functioning child to your high functioning child or individual. And that type of language you want to steer away from, because you don't want to use that because of these with the autistic networks and autistic individuals now speaking out.
Mm,
Just how they are perceived in society.
mm,
So we don't say, I mean, I, for one, used to say that about my own
mm.
child when I speak about Tyler.
Okay.
Um, oh, he's low functioning based on his level of function. But he's because each child, one thing we have to remember is each child is so different. If you've met one autistic child or
Mm,
individual, you've only met one child or individual,
okay.
because all of them are different. It is just when someone is diagnosed with the condition, and we
Mhm.
also want to steer away from saying disorder, because there's
Okay.
that negative connotation to it. So we say
Mhm.
condition rather.
Condition. Okay.
Yes, because it is a challenge that they are, that they do have difficulty just in terms of coping in society.
Mhm.
And more so and it's us, people like us first. I'm first and foremost just Tyler's mom, and I'm his voice, and also working in the field. And I would just want to state that I'm no expert, eh?
Okay.
What I do know is just what I've acquired on, through over time with starting at the centers such as Autism Connect, and also my own experience with my son, because he was, was diagnosed at the age of 2, and he's now going to be 17 in 3 weeks' time. Um, so yeah, so autism in itself is a neurological, which condition. It's a function of the brain that is not in sync, as we would say, as your neurotypical um, person or individual functions. It's just a different way of function. Um, and I want to also say that they are unique children, they are unique individuals, they are brilliant individuals, and all of them are so different
Okay. So
in terms of
okay.
function.
So if we talk about autism as like, if I bring it to a level that most people understand, which is most now, say for instance, trauma. So autism is almost like a trauma, but under the trauma umbrella, there is a different kinds of trauma, like sexual, mental, all of these things. So you do get the ADHD, then you get like autism, well, a certain spectrum of it, those kind of things that you get. Is am
Yeah,
I
Yeah, I think just in terms of autism or ASD, ADHD, and that ADHD, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, or just ADD.
Mhm.
Um, and that is just really, also really falling under that umbrella, because some of the child, because the child is autistic or has autism is one aspect, there's a neurological difference, and with
Mm.
that comes your ADHD. So my son is all of that, falls under that umbrella, because he's extremely, he struggles with attention, And a lot of us and a lot of our children may be undiagnosed, or even individuals that's undiagnosed have that. I, for one, do believe I also have a bit of that, because my attention span, I dwell sometimes.
Okay.
So, yeah, it falls under that, umbrella. And you mentioned about, you were saying something about trauma.
Yes. So
Um,
I was saying, like, say for instance, if you talk about, because a lot of time when you talk about neurologic, the brain and all,
Neurological.
yeah, people kind of almost don't understand it. So I kind of want to bring it down to, like, we all understand the traumas and all of that kind of violence that happens. So if you kind of bring it down to that, it's almost like, if you put autism, if you say autism or the spectrum of autism, that's almost, if you combine all the traumas, if you want to call it that. But if you can be mentally abused and physically abused, and that is what almost like you're talking about. So you have autism and ADHD almost.
Yeah, yeah, because that all falls under the umbrella of ASD. I don't know how to actually say in terms of the how to put it under. I don't want to say it's a traumatic experience. It's a different. People see it differently in terms of trauma. I
Mm,
think an individual or a child, I don't know, if Tyler maybe could tell me and really say to me, because he's an autistic individual that's non-speaking. And again,
okay.
I just want to refer to our labels that we use, because over
Mm,
time, and that, because back in the day, 13, 14 years ago, I mean, when I
mm,
was really started with this journey, there was different things you heard and you spoke about the condition and even the individual. But now it's really because of the autistic community that stood up now over time and say, Hal, stop it right there. This is not how you speak about us.
mm,
There was the slogan of, not the slogan, it was just a buzz word that was out about, don't speak nothing about us without us. And if you really delve into it, you will understand and really get to know what they are referring to, because there's if a non-speaking individual is not able to verbalize what he's saying, or what he wants to say, or what he's feeling, it is very difficult. um, if you to say, is this really a traumatic experience for him or her? We don't know. That person or that individual was either born like that, and it's when I say born like that, you don't even know if the child in my case and my situation, and I'm sure other parents as well. At the age of later on, and it's not something that you can also pick up. Maybe I'm just going to bring a bit of that in during your pregnancy, or even just at birth. It's not where you in other conditions where it's maybe picked up by a test or scan or whatever. It's over time it manifests that there is some sort of a difficulty, which happens with most cases when children are diagnosed from a young age, or it is now even younger than it was before. Um, yeah. So
so there's some, is it something that happens almost during your pregnancy that kind of almost leads you to that, or is it just something that, you know it happens to you?
again, you can't pick it up. I haven't heard or seen or came across anything about the ASD where a child or it's diagnosed through with the pregnancy. In most cases, I can say it's only in the first year or into the second year of a child's life that it is that it
Like
is
picked
picked
up.
up. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because we know we can trace, the milestones a baby have, a toddler, and what they should be doing at a certain time, in terms of
Mm.
months, and you can pick it up with autistic children or individuals, or children rather, that there is some sort of something that's amiss,
Mm.
what are the symptoms or the traits? There's repetitive behaviors, something that's unusual. Um, Eye contact, there's such a big thing about eye contact, and that's also
Mm.
what autistics talk about. We don't necessarily have to look into your face. I
Mm.
can talk to you and look away because that makes me feel at ease, or I'm more comfortable.
Mm.
Um, you know, those are the type of symptoms and that you pick up over time. And also language is a big thing, because you as a parent, and you've had one or two, three children, and you should
Mm.
know what those milestones already should be. I, for one, could pick it up after two. This child was literally not saying anything, which I had it, my first child, even though it was a girl, and yeah, I've got a boy now.
Mm.
You still, there's still certain milestones that has to be reached, and that child didn't reach it, and there was just some behavior that we were just flabbergasted by, and I didn't know. And back then, and I'm just talking about my experience, back
Mm.
then there was little really about autism, because it was in 2007 when when this journey started.
Okay.
And there wasn't much, but that is what was, we could see that was presenting itself, something that the behavior was just in our experience was abnormal. And from there, you just go and seek advice from a doctor, or in our case, we could see the child. He was under a pediatrician,
Okay.
your general pediatrician, and then from there there was a referral, until a diagnosis was made. Yeah.
It would seem that when it, like anything else, and also if you talk about different traumas, when it comes to the physical trauma, so when the child is almost going through a thing of he can't talk, he can't walk at a specific age, you pick it up
Yeah.
quicker. But what happens to if the child does all of these things and there's like a social it doesn't match? Because why, as you said, it can be something of I don't look into your face, or I'm not comfortable with that. And if you just take that, you can kind of miss that sign. Because why, if I maybe different cultures, I'm not allowed to look into your face. So you kind of miss that step of, this could
Yeah,
be
so,
something.
yeah, so that is one trait or aspect as well, that is also, you know, that can be picked up, that they do have difficulty to read social cues, or just to pick up what other people are saying or feeling. That
Mm.
is definitely one aspect of it. An individual with ASD, or those type of individuals that has difficulty, with social cues, then they refer to that as Asperger's syndrome, which falls under the
Yes.
ASD umbrella.
Okay.
Where that individual or that child is brilliant, that child is academically on par, can do whatever, doing, okay, fairly okay in school. But when it comes to social interaction, making
Mm.
friends,
Mm.
those are things that can be picked up as something that's a miss, and it falls under that umbrella of, it's under ASD, but it's
Mm.
referred to as someone with Asperger's syndrome. And again, you can just read up
Yeah.
about. Yeah, yeah.
What happens if you think, okay, I think my child is um going through autism or has do you now say autism condition,
Autistic
or do you
traits,
say
right,
autistic traits? There we go.
traits, yeah.
Autistic traits. What happens then?
So um, again, there's much more information is much more available now. People over the years working in this environment now, parents pick up that there is either a delay,
Okay.
a delay in communication or a delay in speech, because that's always sometimes something that we pick up. We should be picking. Oh, the child should be talking already at a year and a half or 2 years old. Can say short sentences, or can say his or her name and mommy and daddy. Those type of
Mm,
things. So that is a big red flag already. If you don't see that happening, and I remember, I just want to say this, with us, it happened like that because Tyler did not say, didn't say anything. He didn't, couldn't say mommy or daddy. And that was a big red flag for me, or, it just made
mm,
me wonder that something is not right. And obviously, based on that, parents, I think parents are much more aware now, so they do act now quite uh, rather quickly, and they can just make inquiries at their doctor. Doctors now already, they should know about the condition and other related conditions, and they can also do referrals. Like a lot of the children is under Red Cross or
mm,
Tigerbird.
mm.
Over time, we get our referrals from, and I'll speak about that later on, from
Mm.
Tigerberg Hospital.
Okay.
Very few though, but predominantly from Red Cross, because Red Cross is your
Okay.
predominant children's hospital.
Mm.
And obviously, parents would go to see a private doctor, and those referrals are also sent through our organization. Yeah,
Okay.
but
So,
it's definitely that traits that you can pick up, and then you
mm,
can say, I think something. And if a parent, and it's got to be a parent that knows, I need to get to the bottom of this. Some you
mm,
will note that, maybe I'm gonna wait, and that's always what they say. Oh no, wait, it's a boy. Hy was vir my gesê,
mm,
it's a boy.
mm,
Hulle vat 'n bietjie langer to develop, and they take
mm.
a bit longer to talk. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just knew I needed to do something, and not
Mm,
knowing much back then.
mm,
We went that route, and I remember sitting in that pediatrician's rooms that day, and you could see this man was doing everything. He says, I said, what now? Something needs to happen now,
mm.
and then from there we were referred to a specialist that specializes in special needs,
Ah, okay.
and working with special needs. With children predominantly with autism.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and that's one of the best doctors that I'm aware of, and that I know also personally. She was one of the doctors that diagnosed Tyler back then, and even a lot of her clients or her patients are referred to Autism Connect as well. But there's
oh,
avenues
okay.
now. There's avenues. So parents, I do believe that there isn't where parents can say, "Oh, there's nothing. I don't know what to do." There is now
Mm,
help out there,
okay.
and support. One just has to know where to get the link. You know.
Okay, we have a question here. Well, Lynette says, I'm also a mom of 17-year-old with ASD traits. Sometimes a child reaches milestone and then they loses their skills. And then she also says, we are in an age where information is available. We are very fortunate. Yes. That is what I gather now. Um, so ultimately, what you're saying is, if you see there is some kind of traits, go to your doctor. Your doctor will refer you to someone else, or Tigerberg or Red Cross.
Oh,
is
yeah,
kind
or
of,
special. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Obviously, that doctor is either specialist, that works with that diagnose and can diagnose, that works in the field, and they should have or a list or a database, which doctors now do have, of places or organizations that can assist parents. For instance, at Red Cross, as we know, Autism Western Cape is also one of the organizations that's also well known in the field, and they do phenomenal work in terms of outreach across the Western Cape, and they are also working closely with Red Cross, because a lot of Red Cross's doctors, I think they also, not I think, I know they have like a consult rooms at Red
Mm.
Cross, and they get referred. And Autism Connect is working closely with them. I mean, we are very two organizations that work closely together, and some of those they would also check and see, in terms of availability and placement and for enrollments, and refer those cases to Autism Connect.
Okay. I'm just putting up Autism Connect's Western Cape's link so people can go to their Facebook page if you want to
Okay,
find any
yes.
information,
There's
and
lots of
as
information
well
there.
Red Cross as well. How
Yeah.
often um do you find that people are still, I know we're in an age where we know a bit more, do you find that people still maybe are still a bit skeptical about going to find out if the child has some kind of
Mm.
autistic trait or on the spectrum, because it's still almost like a taboo subject?
Yeah, I've heard of cases where I would hear, oh, this parent or parents are in denial. I've literally had a Zoom meeting 2 weeks ago with from an organization, and it's actually a special needs school, and they heard about us, and she made contact with me, and she just wanted to know how can these parents get the necessary support for this child, because the child was diagnosed with autism, and but there's a sense of the parents are in denial, and they just trying to assist more, because even though they are a special needs school, they couldn't really facilitate that child's needs optimally, and hence they've made the referral to us. And from there, parents need to make that decision. You either have to sit and wait along, and maybe and see if there is going to be a change. But I think the longer, and that is the longer you wait, the more, it can be either detrimental to the child's development over time.
Oh.
So, yeah. And with that, support is needed. Either speak to that parents can also be referred to speak to a counselor or a social worker in the field. And those are people that can be supporting, parents like that particular. And again, our Autism Western Cape is very key in that, because they've got a panel of social workers that's well equipped to work with cases like that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Lynette's just coming on again. Along my journey, I found moms more easily accept that the child are different. Dad has a much harder time. That
Totally,
that
totally
is so
what Lynette
interesting.
is saying. Oh gosh, it's so true. Because it's a difficult thing for men, especially when it's boys, and predominantly with ASD, the majority are boys.
Seriously?
More boys, much more boys than girls. Yes, we do get girls now. Back in the day, you just heard of boys, and that statistic is still higher. So men in itself find it difficult, hard, actually hard, where they to the point that they don't want to accept it. So again, I always make a reference when I do speak and I get the opportunity just to share my story. That is what I say, because Jeremy, which was their dad, is now no longer with us. He passed away, and that hit that man like a ton of bricks. It we as a couple, we could, things went downhill from there, because you have dreams and aspirations for your child. You have a, you know and he, because we had a girl, was our first child was a girl, and initially wanted a boy first. And then with the second child, obviously we found out it was a boy. That man was over the moon, over the moon. And you know how men are, they have their boy and that. And so it is very, very hard for men. And back then we didn't know much how it, and I am someone that just, I sometimes don't think things through. I just go, and when this hit me, I just went all the way, did research, found out what is next to do, and I just went with it. Where it was a different thing for him. This was, it took this man such a long time to really get to the, to that acceptance, stage. So it is really hard for men, and just with the right support. And what is also nice and key is that support groups really is, which helped me personally over time. I was in a few support groups back then. And mostly support groups then started out just with moms, because we are the drivers, we let things go, and we have to make things happen, because men are just processing things a bit
Yeah.
longer and harder.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it's so key if men can just come together and just talk about the experiences. Once that happens and that acceptance is there, it can flourish, and that child automatically, flourishes. And with the families that we work with and have worked with in the past, I can honestly say there were some really amazing dads that we've worked with, that was really supportive, with to their families, and especially their children. But what Lynette is saying is so true. It's really hard for men.
Okay. If you find a child, I would assume, because I do not know. So if you have a child that has these traits, and they are a bit more when it comes to physically, they can't touch or walk or all of these things, I would assume that would be a bit more of a challenge when it comes to the families, um compared to a child that is, say for instance, Asperger syndrome, doing well at school but socially doesn't, or
There's
is there
difficulty
no
there.
balance, or is there no balance almost that you can bring to say, no, this one is more, and no, this one is actually not as of a struggle.
Again, they are all also different. Some children have different challenges and sensitivities. Some children can tolerate the environment more than what others can. They have sensory challenges.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, touch, sound, loud noises, all the that's in the environment. And again, it's really challenging, because a lot of our children does have that challenges. Again, my child is also one of those children. At his age still, he's really, really um, um, his sensory input is, he needs, the right sensory support, regulation, and that, because he is very sensitive to different textures or smells. Once you know that and you understand that, you know how to compensate for it.
Okay.
So your professionals, if I can say, are key people that can help you or support you. When I say that, obviously with special needs and especially with ASD, the key factors in terms of supporting the child's development and learning is to get the right professionals to work alongside you or your family and that can support your child. So a good occupational therapist is always, can help you with that and identify what the child's challenges, are. So I know exactly what Tyler's challenges are. So I need to support that to make his learning environment supportive for him. So
Okay.
and I mean, like I said, I'm not, you don't have to be a professional in that. You just have to read up about and ask the right questions, and that people is trained enough to help you and support you along that journey. Um, you know, so yeah, that support is there and it should be there. Whether it's in a private capacity or you under your a lot of our children is under Red Cross at Sea. Those therapists there, they work with that and can aid the child with just to be able to function optimally in society.
I just want to read her question and then I'm going to ask you my question. So, Lynette also says, as parents, we mourn the idea of what we think our children will be like. So, yes, support is necessary. I also think this is just, it's not a, it's, even if your child is not under the autism spectrum, I just think that is where most of our clashes comes when it comes to between what mom wants for me and what I wants for me. And
Yeah,
it's kind of like a different
yeah.
thing. But like or like a challenge like Autism Connect or autistic, uh, that kind of because it's not just your life, kind of that it's the family's life that has
So that is
changed.
so true, Bjornifer.
Yeah.
Not just having a child, any child with special needs.
Mm,
Special needs means there's more support that's needed than your typical child, right?
mm,
So some of us have children typical, they function well in school, they can manage and that. Then a child with special needs comes along. Special needs can be ASD, ADHD, CP, cerebral palsy, whatever
mm,
other condition there is. What does that
mm,
mean? It affects the whole family.
mm,
It's not just Tyler. Tyler's life with his challenges affects my life, which it
mm,
has. It affects the siblings,
mm,
marriages. So I'm not afraid or ashamed to say how it's affected my life over the years. Really going through. I must still one day write a book because such a lot has happened over this 14 years. Um, just from everything. And it's so important just to say, to talk about it, share, and be an encouragement and a pillar to just the next person because it is such a big adjustment. You lose a lot of things over time. You lose friends, you lose relationships, because your focus and your direction is different than others. I've lost friends that I've had over the years because Nikki is just who Nikki is. Tyler is first and foremost my priority because my life is Tyler. It revolves around him because his needs are so. He's got high support needs. I spoke about earlier, using low functioning and high functioning. We don't do that anymore because we're putting a label on
mm,
the child. If Tyler could speak and tell me exactly, I would say, Mommy, don't come and tell me. Like our typical child will say, that's not me. Don't come and say this about me. I'm sure that is what he's been maybe thinking over
mm,
the years.
Yeah.
So it is so important to hear what autistic individuals have to say. And there are now platforms, there are now where these people are, they are saying, nothing about us without us. And it's so true. This is how we feel, this is how we should, about how society sees us. And it's so important to hear what they have to say. And yeah, and by no means are they. I just want to say this, that and sometimes people don't know because they can only, because they're not educated. So part of
Mm,
like you asking questions. I mean, the two of
mm,
us know each other for a while now, but we've really not delved really into things, and it's good because you don't know, but there
mm,
is an interest, and it's
mm,
my responsibility as a person that knows a little bit more, that I
mm,
can share and say, no, man, don't talk like that in Japan, and you don't say that about the child or the
mm,
individual. This is how you address it. And this is how you say, because you
mm,
are just educating. And once
mm.
you are, we call it the 3 A's awareness. So there's autism
Mm.
awareness. We are
Okay.
aware that there's a condition such as autism, and
Mm,
we accept. So
mm.
I accept him as my son first and foremost, and an autistic individual, and there's appreciation. So, yeah,
Can I just ask this before? I would actually want to ask Lynette also if she is willing to also just have an interview with us and talk from her perspective about her journey, if only if she's willing, of course. Um, Normally, if you have, I had a child that had eczema, and you had your rough years, right? We You had to treat the skin, you had to treat the mental, all of that. It becomes a mental thing of when I'm fearful, I go to scratching, right?
yeah,
Is it the
yeah.
same when it comes to autism where you almost have your rough periods and then she's almost at an age where she's now almost outgrowing it? Do you get that where you outgrow it, or is it forever with you?
It's what it is. It's the individual. It's they say it's not outgrow it. Some children or individuals develop over time. When I say develop, they might be. I'm not going to say, back then we'd say non-verbal or
Mm.
non-speaking. Now they can have words. They can have sentences. They are able to speak now. But in terms of the traits, what autism in itself, and there will still be other challenges. So again, it's what the autistic community advocates, is this is who we are. It's not a disease and it's not an illness.
Mm.
It's you. It's who you are as an individual. God made us all unique. And this is who they are. I'm unique. I'm different to Beyonce. He's made me as Nicolette, for a purpose to do what I need to do on this earth, and the same with you, and the same for Tyler, and it's the
Mm.
same for Lynette's son, but it's not something that you outgrow. I don't, I mean, I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't think it is
Mm.
something. That's who you are as an individual. Over time you can see the the development, and they learn skills, because that is part of what
Mm.
learning is. When they from young, do they get into
Mm.
a preschool or into a learning facility, and
Mm.
you as educators or professionals, therapists, and that we are aided, we are
Mm.
there to aid them with the knowledge that we acquire, and that to facilitate the support plan for them. And over
Okay.
time, you will see that progression in the child or in the individual.
And
Yeah.
then new skills get added every time once they almost like achieve that. Now new
Yes, yeah.
skill.
So in terms of learning, you look at, oh no, there's maybe goals, like we do that in schools, at facilities such as us. You assess and you look at the baseline, and this is where the child is at. And over time, you work on certain skill sets or goals, and you can see some of these children masters it, and you move on, and that is how they grow and they develop. Like our any your neurotypical child going to creche from young,
Mm.
as they grow, they develop. So it's nothing
Mm.
different.
Mm.
They learn differently, and it takes maybe
There
a
we
bit
go.
longer
Ah,
for them
okay,
to
okay.
take in or process what your neurotypical child or
Mm.
it's not that they may be not able to do it.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It just really takes time and patience and tolerance, from
Mm.
us as the people that is there to support them. A good
Mm.
support structure for anyone with any child with ASD is so important, and you can see the difference if there isn't that support structure
Mm.
for that child,
Mm.
where the deficits maybe lie. So, yeah, a good plan, support plan structure is important.
I must say I'm learning a lot, and I love these kind of interviews because it's again that thing of, you think you know, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have no idea.
There's
So
such a
yeah.
lot. Can I just say something? There's such a lot to just to this type of work and to be involved in this. There's so much. Every day you learn a bit different about different approaches, different methodologies. Um, in terms of supporting the child. And it's not just a one-stop shop. Oh no, we're working on this curriculum, and this is
Mm.
gonna work. Believe you me. And I personally do have an issue with even with the schooling system, because they work on
Mm.
actually decaps and all of that. Not
Yeah.
all of our children can actually.
Mm.
Um, my child is one, but yet the school is they do that.
Mm.
Not all of them are able to do that, whatever that curriculum offers.
Mm.
So one always has to just think about other approaches and how we approach or methodologies to work with the child. And again, each child, I'm giving an example, the 25 children to 30 at our facility, all of them are different. They function differently. They have different language. Some is non-speaking. They don't they but there's other means of communication. So there's layers um, to the approach.
Mm.
And anyone, and for me over the years, if we've gone through people that's worked at our facility. It's not just anyone that can come in
Mm.
and can come and work at a place like that, because it's not your typical educate facility where you just teach 1+1 and 2+2 and daar gaan jy na die next grade too. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
got to have the heart to work
Hot
with
for
them.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I can somehow understand. I have four girls. Each one learns
Yes,
differently.
learns
The een kan
differently.
ek 'n boek gee, sy doen haar eie ding. The other thing, other child, I must kind of, you need to be more creative. There must be drama included. You must jump. You must do everything because that is how she absorbs her information. So yeah, so I can kind of pull
But
my head
even,
around
yeah,
that and
yeah,
say
yeah,
that
everyone's different, you
that is
know?
what you must do. But
Yeah.
what happens if you are now a teenager, right? Let's bring it to that social gatherings, because I always feel also this when, and especially now with organizations and things, when we talk about holiday clubs, right?
Mm,
We always, most times, think about our children. We don't think
yes.
about the differently abled kids, how to include them. Can we include them? Should we include them? Is there boundaries?
What's such a good question? And I think it's a question you asked me a very long time ago. How do we look at differently abled individuals? Can I be honest with you? I don't think there's much provision made for that, or where there is facilities in that really accommodates that. Because I personally do struggle to even find um, a place for my son now. Um, and it's just that there isn't the accommodations is not there for them, because there's not a lot of uh, facilities or organizations that works, that okay, that can accommodate special needs children or individuals. My son, for one, is, and I don't think that there isn't, that they're not. It's just, how do you? Because that's what they've asked me. Oh, Nikki, how? Now we don't know. Yes, you run maybe this holiday club. I think you've done that before. How do I get, okay, we have some children from Autism Connect that would like to have exposed and enrolled into that program, but your facilitators, that are they, maybe it's just that they're not equipped to know what to do. You know what I mean? I do believe there's still a lack of that support with sports, social, like social gatherings and stuff,
Yeah.
where there's more accommodation made for them. There's not, that's still very, it's not actually, it's actually non-existent in my view. For a long time now, so just quickly, I had Tyler, this was in 2012, really just by chance. By chance. I didn't know. A lot of our children, ASD children, they love either the sea or water. He's one of those children that loves the water. So not particularly the beach, but a pool. You can give him a pool. I swim alleen and I pool. So over time, and that is something that I picked up early in his growing up and in his development. And lo and behold, did I look for a swimming school that works with special needs children. And when I say I'm going back to 2011, 2011, and finally, just by chance in 2012, I came across, just by chance. So my mother lived in Blue Downs with my sister, and we would go visit there. And the Blue Downs indoor swimming facility. So I just went there one day just by chance and just go suss it out. And there was a swimming school operating there. En ek is skaam om te vra nie, toe gaan vra ek, who's running this thing, and go talk to the guy, and he said, yes, we run a school, but sorry, we don't work with special needs children. And I say, I would love to have my son, go for swimming lessons and all of that. Niks soos daai nie. And I went there literally almost every weekend, because that is when we would go visit my mom. And it was just by chance, one of his instructors or trainers, she then, I went and spoke with her, and she said, look, this is something I'm not clued up to work with special needs, because no kan die kind dan nie eens praat nie. How's he going to understand what I'm saying that? But the one thing with Tyler is, and with many others, they understand very well. He understands. You can give him an instruction. So you can say, go close the door, get up, move, he's going to do it. So he has receptive language. So he can understand. Yes, he can understand what I'm saying to him. He's just not able to express it. So he doesn't have expressive language, but he has full understanding of what I'm saying. And I said, don't you want to just give it a chance, man, and see? I'm telling you, and it was so key, and the two of us became good friends. We've actually lost contact now. I mean, I don't even know where she was amazing. 2 years Tyler was under her radar, and this swimming club owner was so amazing. He says to me, and they were so good in there, they made an accommodation, and it just takes someone that just, it takes a chance to say, let me give you an opportunity. And a lot of the times we don't get that. And he said, I'm going to get her to work with your son once a week. So
Sure.
when you come, this is your time slot, and he will come,
Mhm.
and you bring, and she only works with, because normally they work in groups. And
Okay.
when I went there on a Wednesday, in that time slot, so there was only half an hour time slot, she only worked with him, and it was so amazing the bond that they developed over 2 years. And Tikken can swim, he's a goeie swimmer. Hy kan nie swem nie. So now everyone knows, I can't swim. Tyler sal jou de mekaar swem. And
Ons moet ook
he's
Tyler's in die
so
pool.
he's amazing. I think, yeah, he dip and whatever. So people must know when you go to family means kind of your pools, eh? And he dips into that pool. So I need to get the house actually with the pool in.
Yes.
So he loves, and he can
Yeah.
swim well
Okay.
because of just that opportunity that he got.
Mm.
And so he swims, unaided sauna, whatever, noodles and that. He's amazingly, he just doesn't, he's not a beach person.
Mm.
He will go, and we will go to the beach and go put our feet in. He will go just to an extent, but he won't dive into it. But the pool,
Mm.
he will go for it, and it's stimulating and it
Okay.
calms him. It's just amazing when he comes out and they say, much more easy and at ease, as he's so hyper. But yeah. But yeah, it's about that, and it's about what is out there, and if people
Mm.
can just, and it's for parents, and just to be that voice, like us, like me. I
Yeah.
am the voice,
Mm.
and just go and ask, and not just the voice for Tyler, I'm the voice for their children at the center.
Mm.
It's also bringing in opportunities where our children can be integrated into, because again, there isn't a lot of clubs, and that he is such a sportable boy. He's so tall,
Mm.
sportable. Like him to get into athletics, and I've
Mm.
inquired all the time, so I haven't really, there's no grounds broken there yet, so I'm looking at that to try and get them into some sort of athletics facility. Yeah.
Yeah, I have more homework to do now because I really want to know more.
Yes.
I definitely want to know more. Um, I'm now thinking who can I still have an interview with after this. Um, but
You
yes,
come
I mean,
across anyone like that, you must let me know, because it's so
yeah,
important just to share your network, share, what one another does, because that is, it's for the greater good. Yeah.
definitely. I mean, yes, ons het nou so lekker gepraat.
Yeah, no,
Don't you want to
no.
just tell us? Don't you just want to tell us what Autism Connect does?
So Autism Connect is it's a learning center.
Mm-hmm.
So the organization was established out of a personal need, and that personal need was Nicolette Ripepi with her son Tyler Ripepi. Thank you, Bionafa. Tyler Ripepi, that could not be placed and was not accepted into your mainstream educates out in the Mitchells Plain area. So this was in 2007. When on his diagnosis, I had to try and get him into a school, and that nothing. And and there was such a lot of there was facilities available, but it was not, it was so expensive, and the facilities that was there was all outside of Mitchell's Plain. It was, the one eventually that we got into was out in the Durbanville area, because back then there wasn't any specialized learning facilities such as what Autism Connect now does. And I had a normal 8 to 4 job. I worked in corporate for a long time. And then I started the center back in 2013. Actually, 2012, really, with all legalities and registrations in 2013. And so we've been running since then. And we offer a learning support program, autism specific, to children from young. So we have like littlies that comes in from already 2, because like I said in the beginning, the children is now diagnosed very young, early. Red Cross or your private doctors, your neurologists, and that will make now referrals. Autism Connect is one of the organizations that they do make referrals to. We get that inquiry. I get it, and we then conduct an interview with the parents and take them through what we offer. So we offer a specific learning program specific to the child's need. And when I say learning program, it consists of an individualized education development plan. So each child is
Different.
specific, different. Each child's development, educational development plan is different to the next, because they're all unique.
Yeah.
And so that is what we do. We are in partnership with therapists, and that therapist is your speech therapist that is working in the ASD field, that has experience now. Back then, a couple of years ago, we would have younger therapists coming on board and working at our facility. But we found to be very important that people really have to have some sort of sound background to work with
Yes.
autistic with children. And like your speech therapist, your OT, and that. So they all come and do support with the learners at our facility. We out in Strandfontein at the, where we are, man.
Mm.
You haven't been there yet.
Just
You come there,
let's
but
on can YMCA. Yes,
YMCA,
wherever
yeah.
YMCA, just the bottom
Yeah,
of
not
YMCA.
far from there. So we're on that side.
Okay.
Yeah, not the best of places, but our facility is conducive to work with our children.
Okay.
So that's what we're on. That's what Autism Connect does. I head up operations of Autism Connect, and we have great, passionate teachers that is ECD qualified, and our head teacher or our program manager is highly skilled, and she facilitates the learning program with her team that she leads. And yeah, in a nutshell, we have a great program that we offer. We do, and by the way, we also have an open day scheduled for the end of October, which is scheduled for the 30th of October. I will send you that information. So parents, anyone wanting to make an inquiry or just want to come and see what we do and what the setup looks like, it's going to be a lovely, fun, interactive day of information that we will share about the learning program, what we do at Autism Connect, meet the team, come and look at the classrooms and set up. There will be jumping castles, there will be refreshments on sale. So it will be like a fun day.
Mm.
Refreshments on sale, activities, jumping castles, lots of activities. So that's scheduled for the end. It's also one of our fundraising initiatives that we have scheduled for this year. So that's happening at the end of October, the 30th.
I did put it on here for people to see. I see you do have the ad on your Facebook page. So
Yes,
I will
yes.
also put that on our page. I will share it
Thank
to our
you,
page.
Jonathan. Yeah.
So definitely people please look out. I would really want to do something like this again and maybe talk to one of your facilitators so that they can also maybe
Yes,
just run us through the program of what is
yes.
going on.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I found
that is what they do. They are skilled to work with, education and teaching. You can see a teacher, ne?
yeah.
I do all the background work at Autism Connect just to ensure that we are operational, sustainable, and knock on doors where we can get good donors, and because that's quite a key function of my position, and to ensure things happen optimally and runs optimally at the facility. Yeah.
I made notes. Ik weet nou where.
Thank
So if I
you.
hear anything else, I will contact you guys. But
Mm,
definitely, I think we should definitely talk next, maybe next session. Once you guys, I know you guys are very busy. Talk to
yes,
one of your facilitators. Which should also be a nice thing just to run up to your open day.
yes,
Talking about that, talking to one of your facilitators about what you guys actually do at Autism Connects, how they teach the kids, and
yes,
some of the challenges maybe they find,
yes,
because I always yeah, it's always best to talk to those, the person working with the people.
yes,
But
yes.
other than that, I think you guys have brought a lot of awareness to Autism Connect, or autism in general.
In,
I
yeah,
often find that when you talk about autism, you get information, and then someone else talk, then you're like, oh, okay. Now I thought I knew. Now I must know. It's like more information every time, a bit more,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
great, because it means, with the awareness, more development is happening actually, which is brilliant. I love the fact, and I will ask Lynette again if she's willing to, because I would like to find out the other dynamics. You spoke a little bit about your dynamics in your family, and so we would like to get that part also.
A
um
parent, yeah, yeah, from a parent's perspective, because there's such a lot to it still that one has to
yeah.
unpack, because it's taking gonna take you more than an hour,
Phew.
because there's really a lot to delve into,
Yeah.
um, to get a holistic understanding of really what the challenges are. Yeah,
Exactly. And you know me by now. I don't just like looking from a thing from one point of view. I like all the views. I like to
yeah,
get into every nitty-gritty. So
yeah.
if you guys are open as Autism Connect, really just some of your facilitators coming on and talking to us, that would be wonderful. And we will
Okay,
also
we
try
can
and get.
definitely arrange that, that I can speak with one of them that you could possibly speak to and interview. They will be more than willing to share their experiences, their day-to-day experiences
There we
of
go.
um, of yeah, working with the kids. But overall, the children we've worked with over the years, sure, um, you see them sometimes, and you can just see the amazing growth and development that has happened. I do believe that we have um, an impactful program, and
Sure.
people that's been with us over the years. I mean, I'm still in contact with some of my old contacts and parents that just to say, oh, Nikki, thank you. It's important because
It is.
you that is the heart of what we do. We don't just do it because of it's hard work. Believe you me, it's not easy to run an organization, of this magnitude. Um, it's hard work. It takes a lot from anybody, but we do it for the right reasons. Yes, there's jobs that is provided, or job security and
Mm.
all of that. And I'm very when I have people coming on board, or coming to work, they must know why are they. This is not just your general typical job. You've got to have a heart for it.
And I
um,
mean,
that is key. That is key. Jy gaan nie net hier inloop and, oh no, I'm just going to sit and just for the sake because I'm getting a salary at the end of the month. You've got to work. And everyone that works there, that works in different, I mean, from admin to general worker, everyone there has a relationship with these children. They are just amazing.
yeah.
Um,
And I mean, it shows in what you guys are doing because you've been around for since you guys
It's nine.
opened.
Yeah,
So
yes, it's 9 years this year. Eh?
it's a
So it's not an
testament.
organization that is just now just started up. And let me tell you, there are now a lot of autism centers now that's what no opspring out of the woodworks. But I mean, we know why we are here, and what we are supposed to be doing in the community, and that's
Yeah, no.
that's important.
No, definitely. I will be joining you guys for your open day. I see it's
Thank
on the
you.
30th
Bring
because
your
I see.
kiddies. Bring your kiddies.
Uh,
They will enjoy
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I like with them bringing, especially the older girls, bringing them for awareness sake.
Yes.
Because I always want them to treat people
Yes.
like the same,
Yes.
but they won't be able to if I do not bring awareness to their life. So I will
Yes.
bring the two bigger girls with me on the
Yes.
30th, and then we will be joining you guys because I was now scrolling to see when is the 30th. So
It's
yeah.
on a
on,
Saturday. Yeah.
yeah, so on that note, Nikki, thank you for joining us,
Thank you.
and really bringing awareness. I know we often talk about a lot of things, but this is a new, this is new that we've been talking about. We always wanted to do it, and now we actually
Yeah,
did.
for such a long time, but there's such a lot that's happened. I'm so glad that you finally told me, no, Nikki, I can only have it today. So thank you for that because I always have such a lot going on my side too. But thank you. And just for the opportunity, and it's so important just to share. I told you I was very nervous to come on because the live with this is a bit overwhelming for me. Eh? But thank you. Thank you for the amazing work you are doing. I think you are, I haven't said that to you, and I'm saying this to you on this platform. I met you 3 years ago with your amazing mom, and I got to really have face-to-face conversations with her. And, just also from where you started and where you are. So bless this organization for the heart that you have, and for doing good in the community. I don't know how you do it because with your four girls, that keeps you obviously busy because you first and foremost also a mom. So thank you for what you are contributing and doing in the community. And just you because you're bringing just awareness, on different aspects, of different conversations, and it's so important. And I do follow you quite extensively. So, and I enjoy it. Yeah. So thank you for having, for this opportunity tonight.
Okay, nou dat jy my nou klas kam gemaak het, nou gaan ek nou baie sê hoor. No.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no. I think the only reason why we can do it, it's because of people like you guys and all of those have done it before us, that we
Mm,
as the newer generations can do it.
mm, mm,
It's like a stone being thrown into water, that ripple effect that happens.
mm,
And if the stone was never thrown,
mm,
that ripple effect would have never happened. So we must actually thank you guys that is
mm.
walking in front of us and showing us the way. So yeah. Met dit wil ek vir jou weer eens baie dankie sê. I'm looking forward to our next interview
Yes.
on
So you,
this.
yeah, you can just keep me posted and just, yeah, we
Yes,
can definitely.
we're gonna try and do it for I wanna we wanna try and focus on autism for this month,
Okay.
till until the 26th, so every Tuesday doing it,
Okay.
because I did promise the men for August we had a whole month of women talking.
Women,
Um,
that
so
was it. Yeah.
we did promise the men that November month will be their time. So we have to um just do
Honor
what
that.
we
You
said.
have to honor that, and that will be good,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
hear what the guys have to say.
definitely. So I'm looking forward to that. But then we will definitely, so either next weekend, yeah, Tuesday, and then on the 26th again, we are hoping to have another interview just based on autism this month.
Okay.
But on that, we want to say thank you, Nicolette, for your time.
Thank you,
I
Bionica.
said what
And
I said with every interview, time is not a commodity we can play with anymore.
yes, like, no,
You
it's
need to
so
play
true.
quick.
Yeah, I'm
So
so
thank
glad
you
there
for
wasn't
your
load
time.
shedding tonight, actually, because I didn't actually check any schedules. I'm glad there wasn't load shedding, so that was in our
Yeah,
favor.
that is also why we made it a little bit earlier, because normally we do it at 8. But we thought
Yes,
because of
yes,
load shedding, let's just play
yes,
it safe and
yeah.
do it that way.
But this was a
But
good time.
for everyone who joined, thank you, Lynette, especially you that gave in your input. Thank you for joining. For those that are still going to join, please just go through the comments area. We placed a lot of people like Red Cross and all of those things, little
Okay.
bit of nuggets we placed in there, and you can follow that. The
Yeah.
Autism Connect, the Autism Western Cape is also on there. You can also go
Yes.
to Nikki's page, is on there, and then you can ask them anything on there. I'm sure they will answer.
Yeah.
So with that, we want to say good night. It
Good night.
is it is not as chilly as other nights, so please still keep warm and keep safe and
Yes.
keep sane. We always forget
Yes.
about that. Keep sane.
Yes. Oh, thank you. It's so true. Sure. So true.
So bye.
But
Thank you,
thank you for
Nikki.
this opportunity. Thank you. Good night, everyone.